Committee reports, legislative update, Mrs. Shorter.
Yes, I do have some things I want to discuss. One of the things that we're looking at, that we've been watching closely, is what's happening with the Fair Funding Bill, which is also House Bill 305. So for those that are not necessarily familiar with fair funding, there are some things that I think are important. So, I mean, fair funding is basically an attempt to provide correction for the situation that we find ourselves in here in Ohio. Ohio's educational funding has been found to be unconstitutional by the Ohio Supreme Court, not one, two, three, but I think maybe 4 times. It's 3 or 4 times. And it's because there's such a heavy reliance on property taxes. So fair funding is basically the Cupp-Patterson bill with a little slightly different spin, just to give you some of the provisions of it and to let you know where we are with that right now and why it's important for schools. So unlike the current formula, which is too dependent on property values, the new plan would use both property values and the resident income to identify each community's capacity to pay their fair share. So instead of having so much of the burden be based on property taxes, they're mixing in income a little bit as well. It's also a district, state, and local share would be determined by its capacity to generate local dollars. Only a change in the district's resident income, property value, or enrollment would cause a change in that district's local capacity. So those are some of the things that strike at the heart of funding. But there are also other benefits to this that are in regards to preschool. So every economically disadvantaged 4-year-old would be guaranteed access to at least 1 year of high-quality preschool. It provides funding for the ESC in the state and would create the position of a community preschool director to coordinate early childhood services. There's also provisions for transportation, gifted services. Basically, it is the first bill that's attempted to right the wrongs of our current educational funding here in the state. So House Bill 305 passed the House by, it was 84-8. Unfortunately, when it got to the Senate, it didn't fare so well. So it's not that it's failed, it's just that they're actually putting it off. They're not going to look at it until next year, and that's really not good news. I don't see it. Okay. So that's not really good news. It faces a lot of opposition in the Senate. One of the big economic concerns was the fact that the studies baked into House Bill 305 would alter its funding. So the preschool expansion and funding for economically disadvantaged students were 2 of the big items that there was contention about. And some senators say that the bill could cost as much as $4 billion a year and double current estimates. So I think what's happening with the bill is that due to the virus and the impacts of COVID-19, I think the state is nervous about moving forward until they know or have a better assessment of what's going to be impacted as far as state monies that could be used to fill any budget holes and gaps. Right now, that's really going to be sort of tied up with our United States Congress, because they have not decided to provide any more COVID funding. And so those loopholes, and not loopholes, but those holes that are in state budgets, they're not necessarily getting filled if there's not additional aid. So the Senate is nervous about moving forward until they get a better idea of what's going to be the impact of revenue shares and all of that due to the pandemic. So for now, the best bill to hit education has slowed. I don't want to say that it's completely gone or stopped, but it's hit a big roadblock. So I thought that House Bill 305, having something like House Bill 305 get passed into legislation would actually offset some of the things that are coming with the provisions from EdChoice. I thought it was a better way because you're separating out charter school funding and such with 305. But that's not where we are right now. So we're going to keep an eye on things going into the next year, but it would be helpful if you can go out to the website, read a little bit about fair funding, and if you're so inclined, call your senator. We're in Senate District 4. This is Bill Coley until the new general legislature is in. So call your senators and ask them if they could get behind this particular bill. It has a lot of potential to really change things and make funding fair and equitable and constitutional, finally. There are a couple of other things that are moving in the House right now that I think we probably need to wait until they ferret out. And these things would involve property valuation changes, and basically how the Board of Rescission looks at those. So we're going to try and get some more information just to see what types of impacts these possible bills, like Senate Bill 95, could possibly have on our local share. Don't think we have that yet, but once we get it, we could kind of see where that impact was or will possibly be. But none of the bills that are proposed right now are good for property values as it pertains to schools. So there's lots going on. Keep an eye on the Senate. Reach out to them. Express your concern. And I think that's it. Are there any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Shorter? Mr. Shorter, do we know how Representative Lang voted on the House bill?
Yes, Representative Lang was fully supportive on House Bill 305. He reached out and called to let us know that the bill had actually passed. He's very supportive of it. In fact, all of our representatives were. I believe Mrs. Carruthers was as well. The roadblocks were in the Senate.
So Representative Lang will become Senator Lang.
He will be Senator Lang.
Next, in 2021.
That's correct.
I don't know when.
I'm not
they
sure
get
exactly
sworn in,
when.
but.
Yeah, I wasn't.
So then it would be on his desk for that. So potentially that would be one advantage.
That's right. But however, Senator Huffman is going to be the president.
Yeah, he's going to be, that's right.
Senator Huffman, and that's really, I think that's where the major roadblock is, honestly. So even with the dynamics changing and the new persons coming in, we got to see what's happening with Lima, Ohio, and Mr. Huffman. We've got to get him on board. Yeah. Yep.
Well, thank you very much for that update. You do a tremendous job of letting us know what's going on legislatively, so thank you so very much. And you explain it so well as well.
Oh, goodness, because I talk too much, but thank you.
I know you have a passion for it, so thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Did you want to say something, Mr. Smith? Or?
No.
Okay. No. All right, Butler Tech update. Just want to, speaking on the topic of winning, we all have our little rewards from Butler Tech for being the top district with the feedback for the student showcases. So Mr. Graff would like to have been here tonight, but there was a student event going on this evening, so he could not attend. But they did drop these gifts off, and I dropped them off to Mr. Begley and Mrs. Gundrum on my way here. So hopefully you have a chance to enjoy it. I think they're going to try to do the student showcases again in the spring. So hopefully they have another competition, because I know we'll dominate that competition. But thank you all for your feedbacks that you give to the students. I know it helped them tremendously on that. So there's no, I know I did sneak a peek. There's no cookies in there that your children can steal from you. So hopefully this is something that you all could use. I will say that, like I said, there was a student event tonight. Also, that live event that happened on December the 1st, they had, I think, close to 700 users log in to view that, so that's good news there. Other than that, any questions for me on Butler Tech?
Thank you, this is awesome.
Okay, Planning Commission, Mr. Bagley,
Nothing at this time. Thank you.
one of these days you're going to have something for us. Student Achievement, Mrs. Gundrum.
So tonight, I'm going to focus a little bit on music. Since our last meeting, we had 6 high school members that were named to the Butler Philharmonic Youth Orchestra, which is a big deal. They're Amber Colgrove, Jade Colvin, Aaliyah Hoskins, Brianna Lair, Elizabeth Lindsay, and Dylan Vanderpool. So great job to all of them. And then we also have a freshman school student, Mara Sepola, who was selected to be in the Cincinnati Junior Strings, which is part of UC's conservatory. So great job to all of them.
That's great. Any questions for Mrs. Gundrum? Well, thank you very much. I know that you're not feeling well, so thank you for joining us tonight to share the good news of what the students are doing.
Thank you.